On a cold winter night in January 2018, a birthday party at an apartment complex in Denver, Colorado turned deadly. After the last guest left, neighbors were awoken by a commotion, screaming, and maybe a door slamming. A young wife and mother had been found dead in her bedroom. From the apartment emerged just one individual, the distraught husband. He was confused and wailing. Had the noise heard across the building that night been an argument that preceded the murder, or the cries of a grieving and innocent husband? Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case begins in a way we have seen many times before. Suspicious circumstances, a hysterical husband, and unclear recollections from witnesses. But after that, this case does not follow the standard pattern. We uncover a surprise motive, contradictory physical evidence, and are left asking how to make sense of possible clues that have more than one explanation. Let's take a look. Heavy snow was expected in the early morning hours of January 21st, 2018, when police were called out to the Albion Street apartment complex in Denver, Colorado. It was just before 3:30 a.m. when officers arrived. They were met by the woman who had placed the emergency call. She was a friend of a resident in the building.
Like they're down there.
Down the hallway.
Did you see anything?
Officers were directed to Unit 105 on the ground floor, where a 30-year-old wife and mother lie shot on the bedroom floor. The caller explained briefly to responding officers that she had been at a birthday party at Apartment 105 earlier that night.
10-6 at 324.
The party of where this incident has happened, and I was saying goodbye to him, listening to some of his band music, and King came in and said that his wife.
After leaving, she was visiting her friend in the building when the husband of the woman burst in, hysterical, claiming that his wife had been alone in the bedroom, and the gun had gone off.
Hey, what's going on?
Outside the apartment door, the friend from the building pointed officers towards the inside of the home.
Where's the weapon?
Where's the weapon at, sir?
I have no idea. We haven't seen it yet, but you won't have to find it because he's devastated. So I think
In the apartment, officers discovered 30-year-old Clarissa Wilkins on the bedroom floor. She appeared to have suffered a gunshot wound to the right side of the head. Clarissa's distraught husband was with her, holding her against him as the officers entered. Paramedics rushed into the scene, though it was unfortunately too late. Clarissa was declared dead at 3:28 a.m. From the apartment, officers escorted out her husband, 43-year-old Kane Wilkins. He was taken into custody immediately due to his erratic behavior.
Right in here, back here. Stand up.
His hysterical cries, asking repeatedly after the welfare of his wife, went unanswered. There was a gun located on the opposite side of the bed from Clarissa. It was a .40 caliber high-point handgun and sat directly in front of a large gun safe. A key had been inserted into the lock. In the safe, police recovered 2 shotguns, a .22 caliber rifle, and a loaded 9mm Smith & Wesson handgun. When police collected the Smith & Wesson, apparent blood was observed near the entrance of the gun barrel. A spent 9mm shell casing was located on the bedroom floor, near the spot where Clarissa's head had collapsed to the ground. Officers at the scene also observed potential signs of a scuffle in the bedroom. There was a broken picture frame in the northeast corner of the room, and a laundry basket and fan tipped over in this same area. Kane was escorted from the back of a police cruiser to just inside the doors of the building, where a swab was taken from both of his hands to test for any traces of gunpowder residue. Had he fired the gun and not washed his hands, there would be traces of gunpowder present.
you tell me some answers, man. What the fuck is going on with my wife? I hear a pop and I run into the room and I have to... What the fuck is going on with my wife? I got blood all over me.
Hold on, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Here. There's my fingers all the way open.
A blood alcohol test was also later administered. Kane's BAC was reported as well within an elevated range. His wife's came back at .294, which is considered very high at over 3 times the legal limit.
There's a 9mm SD9VE inside the house. We both have fingerprints on them.
Okay, turn up. There we go. Thank you.
You're just going to feel a little bit of stickiness. It's not going to leave you.
Can somebody tell me what's going on with my wife?
Just a few minutes, okay?
Few minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go back outside.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go sit out here in my fucking truck.
We're going back to the car.
Yeah, in my truck.
What kind of phone do you have? Because they found one that's not sure if it's yours or not in the manager's apartment or whatever.
I want to know about my fucking wife.
What color is your phone? I want to make sure you get it back. Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure you get it back.
About my wife.
I know.
Clarissa Wilkins, who often went by Claire, grew up in Aurora, Colorado, where she graduated from Rangeview High School in 2006. Just a few years later, Claire met Kane Wilkins, who was 13 years her senior. He was recently divorced and father to a son and younger daughter. In 2011, he and Claire married. They welcomed a baby girl 2 years later. According to friends, Claire lived to be a mother, and it was a role that she excelled at. Both she and her husband appeared pleased with their blended family. Shortly after the birth of his daughter with Claire, Kane posted to friends and family on Facebook, "I am a blessed man. I'm not rich, I'm not poor. We live check to check, as so many do. However, I have a rented roof, a full fridge, a wonderful job that kicks my butt and leaves me eager to wake up and learn more each day. My family is healthy, thank God. May all of you be as blessed as I feel every day. Know that you all make me smile and strive to be a good man every day. Love you all." By Kane's birthday in January 2018, he was no longer working. Claire worked full-time managing a local Dollar Tree store. On the night her mother died, Claire's daughter, then 4 years old, was staying at her grandmother's home just 2 blocks away. A canvass of the neighbors was undertaken that night. Witnesses reported hearing what they thought was a woman's voice calling out, "No, no, no," followed by a man's voice crying, "Get in here, now." The timing of these cries was not exact, though most placed hearing the exchange around 3:10 a.m., shortly before the 911 call was placed. One neighbor thought the yelling may have been followed by a door being slammed shut. Another recalled being awoken by a loud bang, which they assumed was an object falling down the stairway. That resident went back to sleep. The information gathered at the scene that night appeared to paint a clear picture. Loud screaming and door slamming, in conjunction with a few items in disarray in the bedroom, suggested the shooting was preceded by an argument and a struggle. This pointed to murder. Though in the dead of the night, neighbors' accounts of what they heard could prove ambiguous. Kane Wilkins was screaming repeatedly in a high-pitched tone, which neighbors admitted to never hearing before. Could his voice have been confused for a woman's screaming, "No, no, no," after he found his wife? And this is what the neighbors heard. The male voice calling, "Get in here now," could well have been calls for help from Kane to his friends. While the GSR test results were pending, there was one other potential indicator as to who had fired the gun. On Claire's blood-stained right hand, there was a blank spot on her palm, an area clear of staining that presented a distinct outline consistent with the shape and grip of a handgun. A good friend of the couple who lived in their building had been at their party earlier that night.
I mean, is everybody getting along? Is it just like a regular party? Was there any problems?
Dude, this does not make sense.
Okay. How was Claire at the party?
Fine, we danced. This does not make sense.
Was Claire having drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And having fun and smiling and laughing and joking and having a wonderful time.
Yeah. What about Kane?
Him too?
After the party, he had returned to his apartment and was listening to music with a friend when Kane burst through his door, screaming about Claire. The two friends followed Kane back to his unit, where they found her.
Claire was still breathing, and Kane had come back from my apartment and was lying there screaming and hollering on the hall, and I yelled at him for him to get his ass up because she was still breathing.
He was in the hallway?
Yes, he'd come back from my apartment and like screaming in the hallway, and I went over and Claire was still breathing.
Where was Claire at exactly?
On the right-hand side of the bed. It would have been the north-hand side of the bed.
Okay.
And she was still breathing, and I screamed at him, like, just get your, like, trying to motivate, I don't need you to cry right now. I need you to handle this. Go handle Claire. And I made sure, and I was like,
where was Kane at?
in the hallway.
Okay.
And I said, you need to get your ass up here. Get in here and take care of your wife. We're going to make sure we got the police on the way. Just do this. Do this. Trying to move his consciousness, you know, to like...
And then what happened?
Oh, it didn't work.
Okay. Did he go back into the apartment?
He stayed there until you arrived.
He stayed where?
On our body.
Though Kane and Claire were known to have had issues in their past, their mutual friend told the detective that he believed the couple loved each other very much. He also saw no signs that Claire had been depressed or struggling emotionally.
So, what do you think happened? I mean, this is, you said this makes no sense.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Kane told the detective that after everyone left that night, he and Claire had been tidying up the apartment. As he packed up food in the kitchen, Claire placed items away elsewhere in the home. Meanwhile, they chatted about the evening. 5 or perhaps 10 minutes passed before he claimed to hear a pop from the bedroom. He ran from the living room to find his wife on the floor, he said. He did not recall seeing a gun at that time at all.
I'm going to give you the floor here. Can you tell me what happened tonight?
We were having a great night. We were hanging out with our friends. It was a week early for my birthday, and we were having a birthday party. Everybody had started to go home, and then I heard a pop, and I ran into the back room at what was the end of the party, and there was my wife. Lived my life.
Early in the evening, when Claire's best friend and her husband were the only guests, the two couples began discussing gun ownership. The conversation led to the bedroom, where Kane used his key to open the gun safe and remove each of the firearms, one by one. They then passed each one around. Both he and Claire handled the 9mm at that time. None of the guns were loaded.
We both handled the guns today, and we have witnesses that will attest to that we were showing, because they wanted to see the guns today.
But you never shot the gun, right?
We haven't shot the guns in, I'd probably say, 6 months.
Kane said there were no recent disagreements in their marriage, and he said they had not argued that night.
Disagreements?
Yes.
Not tonight. No, we haven't had a disagreement since last New Year's Eve. We had a disagreement, and since then, never.
No problems.
No, absolutely not.
The picture that Kane painted of his marriage was disputed by another party guest. Claire and her childhood best friend had only recently reconnected. That friend and her husband had been the first to attend the party that evening and had been shown all of the guns in the safe. The relationship history that this friend relayed to the detective sounded very different from what Kane had shared. She said that in one instance, prior to the birth of their daughter, an argument between the two had grown so heated that Claire had phoned police, while Kane barricaded himself in the bedroom with a loaded gun.
The day before they were supposed to get married, Kane had chased Claire around the house with a loaded gun. And her and I stopped talking after that because I was pretty mad at her for going through with getting married to him when it seemed like he kind of had a temper.
So are you saying that at that time, Kane had threatened to shoot her in the head?
Yes.
And this is according to Claire?
And this is according to my sister, but I know that he had done it once before, the day before they got married. So.
Okay, I guess I'm confused.
So I'm sorry, all I'm saying is there's an anecdote where my sister was also hanging out with Claire, and then they had a discussion. Kane had threatened to shoot Claire in the head then too. And then I'm saying several years prior, because they've been married about 6 years now, the day before they got married, I know that Kane had chased Claire around the house with a loaded gun.
Okay, so that's two separate incidents.
It is, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just to clarify that.
Claire's friend spoke of the imbalance that she saw in the marriage. Kane was older and appeared to be controlling.
How about the Prince thing? Is that him or her?
That's him. That's kind of what I hated, was he just took over. You know, they were just talking about that this morning, how it was all his stuff all over the walls, not hers anymore. She had stopped painting for the most part. It was his music, it wasn't hers. You know, like I grew up with her, like we liked the same kind of music, but all I listened to her after they got married was 80s crap. I didn't have a lot of love for. Yeah, that was all his stuff all over the walls. She got a little corner and a couple of tasteful skull prints.
Can I ask you this? What would you say if I told you the neighbors heard before the gunshot? They heard arguing coming from your apartment.
They can say whatever they want to. Then I would disagree because I didn't argue with my wife tonight. We always sit there. I'm a disciplinarian with my daughter, and whatever they heard, I'd ask them what the fuck they heard.
That's a fair answer.
Because I am always a straightforward person. Everything I say. And I will not lie because it doesn't get me anywhere in this fucking life.
When detectives sat down with the last witness, the female partygoer who had placed the call to 911, the final piece of the puzzle seemed to slip into place. This witness had been the last to leave the birthday party at around 3 a.m. She did not know Kane or Claire, but was friends with their neighbor whose apartment she went to after leaving the party. Before she left, she had been presented with an awkward invitation, one that she promptly declined.
And I think this is very relevant as I'm sitting here. And maybe, I don't know, but I'm going to vocalize it. I was hit on by them to stay with them this evening. I had to ask, and I don't know her name. I want to say her name was Marissa, because she approached me. And Kane was in the kitchen. I was really delicate, and I don't know how to say, I've never been approached. Okay, I'm not like this. So she seemed, how to say, I don't know. I was more sympathetic with her to tell her I appreciated it. It was, thank you very much, because I asked her, I'm like, I gotta read in between lines because I don't understand what you guys are. I'm trying to exit. I'm trying to leave. And I didn't understand what you're saying. I kept asking, I'm like, are you okay? What are you saying to me? You know, what's going on? And when I put two and two together because he was standing in the kitchen. He's like, we want you to stay over. You stay for a while. I go, oh, and I looked at her. I go, oh.
What is she saying though? But how's she saying it?
kind of whispering all delicately, like, like it's okay, don't worry. And I didn't understand what she was making me worry about because it didn't make any sense. So when I heard his comment, I go, okay, I'm going to read between the lines here. I'm going to put 2 and 2 together. And I looked at both of them and I said, thank you very much. And I touched her head and thank you very much, but I'm not, I don't know how to be diplomatic with these people without insulting someone. I'm not that kind of a person. So I told him I was flattered. But no, the answer was no. He seemed irritated that he wasn't getting his way because he made a comment, well, it's really not about her, and this is his wife, it's about me because of my birthday. She understood. She said that was fine. She said that she understood that I'm not like that. I'm not bi-curious. And I told her I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And Kane kept inviting me, and I told him no. I go, it isn't like this. I go, this is a big conflict of interest. This is not. And I go, I want to say my goodnights. I said my goodnights.
The woman was very clear. The invitation to stay later into the night offered by Claire was not only supported by Kane, but he had been the insistent one. After Claire politely accepted the woman's decision, her husband persisted. It was his birthday, he said. The night was about him.
We want you to stay, or I want you to stay, or...
He made a specific statement that it wasn't really about her, it was about him.
Okay.
And
you just politely said goodnight.
Yes, sir, and got up and gave her a hug and thanked her, and did the same to him.
It was difficult to deduce exactly how many minutes passed from the time this last party attendee made her exit from apartment 105 to the moment Claire was shot. The witness believed she listened to no more than a handful of songs at the neighboring apartment before Kane burst through the doors, screaming that his wife was dead.
Are you two strictly monogamous? Or do you see other people or anything like that?
We're monogamous unless someone says it's okay, but unless we've never done it. We've always talked about having like a second female or something, but nothing has ever happened.
Okay. Was there talk about that tonight, maybe?
Not that I remember, no.
No?
No. Not at all.
Possibly with...
If it was talked with, it was with Clarissa, not me.
It's not about her. It's about me. It's my birthday. You making a comment? I thought maybe the two of you were coming on to her, and
we've come on to people before, but if it was, we don't consciously know. I don't remember that.
Okay, is it out of the possibility that you said that?
I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes either because I don't remember coherently saying that.
Okay.
Did I get out of hand with alcohol tonight? No, I was okay.
Kane Wilkins was released early that morning and was able to collect his daughter and sleep for several hours before he was asked to return to the station and speak with detectives once more. Investigators had since confirmed that the gun that was used to shoot Claire was not the .40 caliber handgun that was sitting on the floor when officers arrived, but rather the 9mm handgun that had found its way to the back of the gun safe, slightly bloodied and loaded. In addition, the GSR test results found 2 particles of gunshot residue on each of Kane's hands. No gunshot residue was found on Claire's. Kane insisted that any GSR on his hands must have been the result of the show and tell session with the guns from earlier that night. Gunpowder particles, however, are only dispersed upon firing. It was possible that the particles on his hands could have been from a transfer from holding Claire. More likely, thought detectives, Kane was in close proximity to the handgun when the trigger was pulled. Or he was the one who pulled it. In addition, the autopsy had found that the young mother had died from a single shot behind her right ear. The medical examiner did not observe soot or stippling at the wound site, which would likely have been present had the shot been delivered at close range. The few hours away from the station had brought some clarity to Kane's version of events. He no longer denied that he and Claire had invited the other witness to stay the night with them, though he recalled that it was a casual refusal with no hard feelings. He and Claire joked around about it while cleaning the apartment.
Felt like maybe you and your wife had hit on her?
Well, my wife's bisexual.
Okay.
And she had been wanting for a lot of years to have a menage a trois, the three of us.
Okay.
And we talked, I think, to her about things like that, but she had said something about just the girl, and I said, well, that's where we stop, because as a team, this is how we discussed it, because we always felt comfortable. If this scenario ever happened, this is how it would happen.
Okay.
And if we didn't, one person said no, or both people were involved, then it would not happen at all.
Okay. And so in this particular case,
we had said something, and I think she had just wanted to be the girls, and I said, well, this is where we stop. I said, we have an agreement. And Claire's like, yeah, we have an agreement. Yeah. If one of us says no, then that means cease and desist.
Okay. And Claire told her that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, because it was brought up. One of us was like, we didn't go any further with this.
So kind of a team thing or not?
Yeah, mutual. It's a mutual thing.
Okay. So a little bit of a woman's touch there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So anyway, getting back, you guys are cleaning up. You tell her, hey, if you want her, go get her.
That's what I remember saying jokingly, but this is what is hazy in my mind, is what happened between them, because I don't really remember Linda and them. I sort of waved, and I was trying to get stuff cleaned up because some of the meat stuff was not cheap, and I didn't want it to spoil. It's been sitting out for probably 4 or 5 hours as was. So.
Okay. And what does she tell you when you jokingly tell her that?
Oh, fuck you. Sort of that thing, because we always joke together, and it'd be fuck you or kiss my ass. And we did that all the time. You could ask anybody else. We constantly talk to each other like that because, I don't know, just it was our pet way of saying I love you,
The detective began to present Kane with what they had uncovered in the apartment: the broken picture frame and displaced items that showed signs of a struggle, the location of the gun in the safe, and the results of the autopsy.
It was just a piece of paper, and it's a cheap black frame.
Okay. So that picture was broken. Do you know why that picture was broken?
No, there was no glass on it, but...
Yeah, there was a glass.
Not in that one. There was never glass in the one with my son. Not that I...
So maybe I'm describing the one. There's a big void in the hallway wall where the collage pictures are.
Yeah.
And it looked like that picture went there. And it was a picture of an African-American gentleman.
Yeah, sitting there holding his diploma.
And you in it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's broken in that room. Do you know why it's broken?
No, I don't, because it was fine all evening. And I wouldn't break a picture of my son and I,
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So, okay. And overall, the department's very neat and tidy. I mean, it looks like everything has its place.
Yeah.
We also found that there were a couple other things knocked over in the room.
Okay.
Do you know what that
I don't
was or
know
what caused that?
No, not at all. And what was knocked down, I have no idea. Because I didn't hear anything, any commotions or anything,
Okay. For one, if you don't remember, you don't remember?
Correct. I do not remember.
For one, the stand-up fan was knocked over.
That could have been when I went running in. I don't know.
Okay. And then also there was a laundry basket that was knocked over.
Laundry basket, which was next to the white freezer. It was stacked up pretty high because we hadn't done laundry in a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah. Okay, do you remember that being knocked over?
No, I do
not. And that's in the same area where the picture frame was found knocked over.
I want to know.
Okay. Well, she's shot in the back of the head.
In the back of the head?
In the back of the head.
I don't...
Which causes a little bit of a problem.
What? Where in the back of the head?
In the back of the head.
Well, where?
In the back of the head.
You gotta be joking me.
No, not joking. So that's the problem, Mr. Wilkins.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What I have a problem with is where the gun was found.
Where was that found?
Well, you were the only one in the apartment.
I don't know where it was.
Okay, but we agree you were the only one in the apartment.
Yes, we were the only two.
Okay, it was found nowhere near her.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's where we have a problem, Mr. Wilkins.
Well, you guys obviously have an opinion that I did this or something to my wife.
That's why I'm asking. That's why I asked for the second interview, is because I want these blanks filled in.
And I wanted to come in. When I told you that I only remember diving across that bed, holding her, seeing her, and then running for help, I can't remember anything else. I can't remember what I did. If I knocked over a fan, if I did anything running in there.
Okay. And so you know that GSR test that we do?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what that's about? Or do you know how to do that?
Gun residue.
Gunshot residue.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what they did is they dab your hands and I think they dab your face, and they determine whether or not you were in an environment where a gunshot was, where a gun went off. Okay, and so those tests are going to show if you were in the room at that time for the shooting.
Okay, and
how do you think those tests are going to come back?
I don't know. You know, the only thing I did that I remember is actually handling the guns earlier.
All right. Well, gunshot residue doesn't go around corners to down a hallway into the living room. I'm telling you that.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
After roughly an hour of questioning, Kane began to doubt his own version of events. Perhaps he wasn't in the living room when the shot was fired after all. Maybe he was coming and going from the bedroom.
Are you certain you were in the living room when your wife, you hear the shot? Are you certain you're in the living room and not in the room?
I don't know. I don't know.
Then how can you say that you were in the living room?
I remember that's where I was previously. I was getting ready to start getting stuff because I was like, I'm putting the fucking food away. And I don't know if I was going... I know we were sort of back and forth in between the rooms. I don't know how long I was in between there. A guesstimate at that time of night when I'd been drinking, I have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, it was 5-10 minutes.
Well, you were pretty certain yesterday that you were in the living room.
I was going back and forth, and I'm pretty certain that's where I was.
The source of Kane's memory loss was unclear. He was questioned as to whether it could have been the trauma of the situation. Or maybe it was the amount that he had to drink that caused what seemed to be a convenient gap in his recollection. He was unable to offer an explanation. Kane Wilkins was arrested following the second interview and charged with first-degree murder. In early February 2019, Kane stood trial for murder in a Denver courtroom. The state argued that he killed Claire because he was jealous of her connection with a female party guest, and angry that his wife had been unable to convince her to participate in a threesome for his birthday. Kane's defense team asserted that his intoxication that night prevented him from recalling specific details, including how the gun had been placed back into the gun safe. They pointed to statements that the couple had been getting along well earlier in the evening, that the screaming overheard from neighbors could have been his reaction to the shooting and not an argument beforehand, that gunshot residue can transfer from one object to another and from one person to another, that Claire had stress in her life, some depression in her youth, and an extremely high BAC level when she died. After a 5-day trial, Kane Wilkins was convicted of second-degree murder. He was handed a sentence of 48 years in prison. Kane's defense team filed an appeal on the basis of prosecutorial misconduct. In their closing statement, an unnamed prosecutor called upon the jury to do their duty to convict Kane Wilkins because they owed it to Claire's young daughter. They had stated, "The person who pulled that trigger put the gun away, and we know beyond any doubt the only other person in that room, the only other person in that apartment, was Kane Wilkins. Find him guilty of first-degree murder. Hold him accountable for what he did, for the orphan he made their child. This appeal to emotion was found to be legally inappropriate. In September 2022, the Colorado Court of Appeals overturned Kane Wilkins' conviction. The decision stated that, in the judge's view, it was a very close case. The evidence was characterized as conflicting and inconclusive. Specifically, judges posed the following questions. Was the shouting that was overheard by other residents from before or after the shooting? Did Kane put the gun used to kill his wife into the safe as a means, in his drunken state, of hiding evidence, or of removing a dangerous weapon from the vicinity so no one else would be injured? And ultimately, did Kane shoot Claire, as the gunshot residue on his hand might suggest, or was Claire holding the gun, as the outline on her hand suggested? The photograph of Claire Wilkins' blood-stained hand, with a blank spot on her palm in the shape of a pistol grip, was added as an appendix to their decision. In August 2023, Kane Wilkins was granted a new trial, though it was not immediately scheduled. Kane was released from prison while he awaits the retrial, if a date for one is ever set. Claire is remembered as a great friend, a dedicated stepmom, and loving mother to her daughter. And that was the tragic case of Clarissa Wilkins. Thank you for joining me, and a special thank you this week to Jennifer Mosachuk, Sasha Clark, Enoch Rain, C. Ziv, Nate G, and Camille for becoming Sherlock Holmes members. Welcome to the lounge. Your extra support is really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to find us on Spotify Video, where we also publish our documentaries every week. I'm Kevin. This is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
Really hard to disappear, poof without a trace. Sherlock Holmes with it, I put you in your place. Got my smoking pipe, only right, I crack another case like. I need that feeling that you brought. Who learned the lesson that you taught?